President Trump's very able representative, helped us get a deal that got 25 out. We're working now on another deal that we hope will succeed. And we're committed to getting all the hostages out, but also eliminating the evil tyranny of Hamas in Gaza, and enabling the people of Gaza to freely make a choice to go wherever they want. I mean, they should have that choice. And the President put forward a vision, a bold vision, which we discussed as well, including the countries that might be amenable and are amenable to accepting Palestinians of their free choice if they choose to go there. And I think that's the second thing that we discussed. But the hostages came right on top. We also discussed the situation in Syria. We've had neighborly relations with Turkey that have deteriorated, and we don't want to see Syria being used by anyone, including Turkey, as a base for attack in Israel. Turkey is a country that has a great relationship with the United States. The President has a relationship with the leader of Turkey. We discussed how we can avoid this conflict in a variety of ways, and I think we can't have a better interlocutor than the President of the United States for this purpose. And of course, we also discussed Iran. But we're both united in the goal that Iran does not ever get nuclear weapons. If it can be done diplomatically in a full way, the way it was done in Libya, I think that would be a good thing.
And Trump, you need to work on them gas prices. Get them prices down, please.
That's the end of my speech.
Mr. President, we're having direct talks with, We're having direct talks with Iran. And they've started, it'll go on Saturday. We have a very big meeting and we'll see what can happen. And I think everybody agrees that doing a deal would be preferable to doing the obvious. And the obvious is not something that I want to be involved with, or frankly, that Israel wants to be involved with if they can avoid it. So we're going to see if we can avoid it. But it's getting to be very dangerous territory. And hopefully those talks will be successful. And I think it would be in Iran's best interest if they are successful. We hope that's going to happen. And we had just a lot of good talks on a lot of things. I appreciate very much what you said about the tariffs. We've been ripped off and taken advantage of by many countries over the years, and can't do it anymore. Just can't do it anymore. Can't be the stupid people anymore. And it's all because of the people that sat in the seat right here. Not your seat, but this seat. They allowed things to happen to our country that they shouldn't have allowed to happen on trade and other things, many other things. I mean, look at what's happened with our last president, where he allowed millions of people to come into our country with an open border. Who would want an open border? How stupid was that?
I agree, that is pretty stupid.
Free Tax USA to the red.
You didn't give me nothing to play your ad.
Wow. Struggle.
People from jails, all the jails emptied out.
Yeah. And then they didn't even want the people back. They had to go to fucking El Salvador.
They came in from Canada too, by the way, a lot. But generally speaking, on the southern border. And what a shame it is that we are now working very hard to get them out, get the criminals out, get the murderers out, the drug dealers, the mentally insane, get them out. They dropped the mentally insane in our country too. And this was all done by the Biden administration. It's a disgrace that we have to work so hard. And then we have judges that try and protect these people, but they didn't protect us when the people were being let in. To get them out is never easy with these people. So I think we're doing a great job. The border is the best it's ever been. It's even as strong as it was. I had a great solid border. I think it might even be tougher right now and stronger. So people are coming into our country, but they're coming in legally. We have a legal process, and we have that moving along properly, because we need people to come into our country, and we want people that can love our country and cherish
I
our
wonder if
country.
there's a limit on how many times you cross the border in a day. If you're going legally, from
Would you be
America
open to a pause in tariffs to allow for negotiations?
Well, we're
to
not
Mexico,
looking at that. We have
I wonder
many,
if there's a
many
limit.
countries that are coming to negotiate
vice versa.
deals with us, and they're going to be fair deals, and in certain cases, they're going to be paying substantial tariffs. There'll be fair deals. As you know, I spoke this morning with the Prime Minister of Japan, and we had a very good conversation. They're coming. And I said, one thing, you're going to have to open up your country, because we sold no cars, like 0 cars in Japan, and they sold millions of cars into our country. They don't really take our agriculture, a little bit of it just to keep us slightly happy, but they don't take what they're supposed to be taking. So we have a great relationship with Japan. We're going to keep it that way, but they're coming in to meet, and other countries are coming in. With China, as you know, against my statement, they put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff isn't removed by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on. So they've gone for years. They've become a rich country because of people, again, that were in the White House that allowed this to happen. Hundreds of billions of dollars a year they'd make on us on trade, and it shouldn't be that way. And I have a great relationship with President Xi. I hope it's going to stay that way. I have great respect for China. But they can't do this. We're going to have one shot at this, and no other president's going to do this, what I'm doing. And I'll tell you what, it's an honor to do it, because we have been just destroyed, what they've done to our system. You know, we have $36 trillion of debt for a reason. And the reason is that people allowed it to get that way. So we'll be talking to China. We'll be talking to a lot of different countries. And I think, you know, if we can make a really fair deal and a good deal for the United States, not a good deal for others. This is America first. It's now America first. And we didn't put America first. We put America last. The people that were in the Oval Office put America last, and we're not going to stand for it.
Represent the U.S. in the talks with Iran.
2 questions. Do you expect any of these deals to be made before April 9th? And secondly, there have been some mixed messages from your administration. You're talking about negotiations, and yet others in your administration are saying that these tariffs are actually permanent. What is the actual?
Well, it could be. They can both be true. There can be permanent tariffs, and there can also be negotiations, because there are things that we need beyond tariffs. We need open borders. You know, we almost had a deal with China, where we're going to open up China. It was almost done. Some of you remember it during my first term, and it was very disappointing. We ended up making a great deal. $50 billion worth of product was sold. $50 billion. You'd like that in Israel. And I made that deal, but it wasn't the deal that I wanted. It was the deal that I wanted was that, plus they're going to open up China so that our companies could go into China and compete with other countries and China for the, you know, for a large number of people. And at the very end, that deal was terminated, and we went to a piece of the deal. And there are a lot of things outside of tariffs, but tariffs are very important. But there are a lot of things like opening up countries that were totally closed. China's essentially a closed country. In fact, it is a closed country. And what they do is they charge tariffs so that if you sell cars or if you sell anything, nobody's going to buy it because the price is out of control. But that's true with a lot of other countries also. So we're going to get fair deals and good deals with every country. And if we don't, we're going to have nothing to do with them. They're not going to be allowed to participate in the United States.
Mr. President,
Plenty of time. This gentleman is all day long.
Mr. President, thank you for the chance. Many of Palestinian Americans who voted for you are not for Biden because you've promised them to end the war in Gaza.
Very honored by that vote, too.
The war is still going on and there's no hostage deal. Do you have any update on that?
Well, I'd like to see the war stop, and I think the war will stop at some point that won't be in the too distant future. Right now we have a problem with hostages. We're trying to get the hostages out. We got quite a few of them out, but it's a long process. It shouldn't be that long. We have a big problem that we've done. I think I'll ask Pete to maybe talk about it for a second, because a lot of people are asking. The Houthis, we've been very tough and very successful militarily. We've really damaged them badly. These were people shooting down ships and other things, by the way. flying objects like airplanes. And we've put a major hurt on the Houthis, which nobody's been able to do. We've really hit them hard.
I don't know who the Houthis are, but
and
okay.
they know it, and they don't know what to do. And it's every night, night after night. And we've gotten many of their leaders and their experts. They're experts on missiles. I mean, they actually make missiles. Nobody thought that. But they
Houthis?
make missiles. They're highly sophisticated and they're very tough. But they've been very
you gotta be
badly
pretty smart
damaged.
to make
Nobody
a
else was
missile.
able to do that. But Pete, you want to discuss that, please?
Yes, sir. It's been a bad 3 weeks for the Houthis, and it's about to get worse. It's been
What
a
are the
devastating
Houthis?
campaign, whether it's underground facilities, weapons
Houthis?
manufacturing, bunkers, troops in the open, air defense assets. We are not going to relent. And it's only to get more unrelenting until the Houthis declare they will stop shooting at our ships. And we've been very clear with the
Damn,
Iranians
Houthis,
as well.
stop shooting at our
they're,
ships.
They should not continue to provide support to the Houthis, and that message has
Yeah,
been
you
made
Houthis.
very clear.
You're
So
not
we have
getting
a
no
lot
more
more
support.
options and a lot more pressure
I
to
don't know
apply,
who the
and we
Houthis
know,
are, but
because we see the
it's a funny
reports, how
name.
devastating this campaign has been, and then we will not relent.
We have a great military.
They
There's
sound
no
so
military
intimidating, the
like
Houthis.
our military. And despite Biden having given a lot, but nevertheless a pretty small piece, but
Don't tell me Biden
it was
helped
a
the
lot
Houthis.
of our military away in Afghanistan, and one
Yeah,
of
he
the
did.
dumbest situations, I think, and maybe
That's
the
why we
most
need to go back to
embarrassing
Afghanistan.
situation we've ever been
We need to
involved
go
in.
get our military
that short
equipment
period
back
of
from
time
the
in
Taliban.
Afghanistan, what a disgrace that was. But left a lot of our military behind. Left. You see them in their annual parades, where they're parading
They're parading
trucks
with
that
our
are
military?
armor-plated and different things that they can't. But it's many billions of dollars we left behind. But despite that, we have a tremendous military. That was a very small portion because we rebuilt the military during my first term, and we
Yeah, they did.
we have great things happening with our military. We also essentially approved a budget, which is in the facility. You'll like to hear this, of $1 trillion, $1 trillion, and nobody's seen anything like it. We have to build our military, and we're very cost conscious, but the military is something that we have to build, and we have to be strong because you got a lot of bad forces out there now. So we're going to be approving a budget, and I'm proud to say, actually, the biggest one we've ever done for the military. We're cutting other things that were under DOGE, but under a lot of other. When you look at a
that's
woman
an- that's
getting
either an
$2 billion
immigrant or
for
immigrant worker.
environmental, and it had nothing to do with environmental, and they had $100 in the bank, and they give her $2 billion. Many of those cases, all that stuff is going to be cut out. But we are getting a very, very powerful military. We have things under order now, the likes of which we've never had before. We've never had the kind of aircraft, the kind of missiles, anything that we have ordered. And it's in many ways too bad that we have to do it, because hopefully we're not going to have to use it. But the military is very, very powerful, and it's going to remain that way.
How do you...
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to ask you about Iran, because this is the first time we hear that the U.S. is having a direct contact with the Iranians. Is it possible to give us some more information at what level the U.S. is
High level,
represented?
very high level. yeah.
And-
We're dealing with the Iranians. We have a very big meeting on Saturday, and we're dealing with them directly. You know, a lot of people say, oh, maybe you're going through surrogates, or you're not dealing directly, you're dealing through other countries. No, we're dealing with them directly, and maybe a deal is going to be made. That'd be great. It'll be really great for Iran, I can tell you that. But hopefully, we're not going to have to get into that. We are meeting very importantly on Saturday at almost the highest level. We'll see how it works out. Please.
How do you ensure, Mr. President, that these tariffs don't drive U.S. trading partners into the hands of the Chinese? That they
I'm not
don't.
worried about it.
All that,
I'm not worried
they
about
had to
it.
do to
They want to be in the
tag
hands of the U.S. They don't want to be in the hands of the Chinese. And the Chinese have turned out to be really not very good at that. People that are with us, they're with us.
Like, subscribe,
But
share,
we
by the
cannot
way,
be
hit thumbs up.
taken advantage of any longer. I used to watch these deals for years. I've been talking about it for years. You know, I've been talking about it for 35 years, how our country is being ripped off. I mean, 30 years ago it was Japan, then it was something else, then it was another group, then it was China. China's doing the best job of it.
Yeah,
frankly.
China's been raping us, and
And
so
it's
is
just not
fucking
gonna
Saudi
happen.
Arabia
Not gonna
too
happen.
with their oil. We got oil. Trump, I really need you to get to those Rocky Mountains. Get that oil out.
Have offered 0 for 0 tariffs on cars and industrial goods. Is that not enough?
Well, the EU, no, it's not.
He told them,
At
no,
Grainger,
that ain't enough. I'll advertise for
every little
Grainger.
detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Oh, the tiniest thing can make
Grainger's a mostly American company, I think. Or is that Harbor Freight? I should advertise for Harbor Freight, even though I'm not being paid by them.
Formed together to create a little bit of a monopoly situation, to create
I
a
like that
unified
Caprice on
force
the left.
against
You also
the
get
United
rewind
States
like
for
a couple
trade.
seconds.
So they have NATO, which is largely the same countries, and they
This
took
guy's either a
advantage of us,
migrant or a migrant
dollar-wise
worker.
and militarily until I got there. You know, I was able to
Going
get
to the Marine
$600
base.
billion from NATO, where they paid NATO because most of these nations weren't even paying. We were paying for NATO, so we're paying them to guard them militarily, and they're screwing us on trade. So that's not a good combination. So now it's really turned around. It's the opposite, and the European Union's been very bad to us. They don't take our cars, like Japan in that sense. They don't take our agricultural product. They don't take anything practically. And yet they send millions of cars in a year, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, BMWs. They're sending millions and millions of cars into the U.S., but we don't have a car that's been sold to the European Union or other places, but let's go for the European Union. And it's not going to be that way. It's got to be fair and reciprocal. It's got to be fair. It's not fair. We have a deficit with the European Union of $350 billion. And it's going to disappear fast. And one of the reasons and one of the ways that that can disappear easily and quickly is they're going to have to buy our energy from us because they need it. They're going to have to buy it from us. They can buy it. We can knock off $350 billion in 1 week. They have to buy and commit to buy a like amount of energy. And we have that. You know, we have more energy than any country in the world. I don't know if you know that. He knows everything, but the one thing you may not know, we have more energy than any country in the world. We have more of every kind of energy, every form of energy, from oil and gas to coal. And people talk about, I call it beautiful, clean coal. As you know, Germany is opening up a coal plant a week. They tried the windmills and it didn't work. They tried all the other solutions and they were ready to go out of business. Now they're doing a coal plant a week. China is now up to 2 coal plants. They're opening 2 major coal plants every single week in China, all over China. And then we're not allowed to use coal.
That's
well, we
crazy.
have clean, beautiful coal more than anybody else.
And we
have
got oil.
and
Please start
gas more
drilling
than
our
anybody
oil,
else.
President
We have
Trump.
the most energy of any country in the world, including Saudi Arabia, including everybody, by a lot. And I took it to number 1. We were number 3, and I took it to number 1 during my administration. And the reason that we were hurt so badly, and the reason it was also their bad spending, but energy, because they played around with this incredible thing that we had built, this administration had built, and the energy costs went through the roof. And when that went up, everything else followed. Now, if you look at what's happening, you got to see this today. I said, we're going to try and get groceries down, right? An old-fashioned term, but a beautiful term.
Old-fashioned
Eggs.
term.
So when I got in, the press went absolutely
Old-fashioned
crazy the
groceries.
first week. They said, eggs have quadrupled in
What's
price.
the new term for
I said, I
groceries?
just
I
got
didn't know
here.
there's
Tell
a
me
new
about
team
it.
going shopping.
And Brooke Rollins and our team did a great job, and eggs are down now 79%, and they're all over the place. And this was a problem that somebody else would have taken a long time to cure. We
retitle
have
this
energy
video
is
Trump
down.
Talks.
We have interest rates are down. We have groceries, meaning food is down. We have everything is down at levels that nobody ever thought
gas isn't
possible.
down, though.
Energy looks like it's going to be in the $2.50 a gallon range, and maybe below that
But
for
when?
car. So for
When?
gasoline. So
Yeah,
we
look
are
at Let's get it cheaper, Trump.
really doing amazing. I
How
mean,
long
we're
until this
cutting prices
happens?
because
6 months?
prices got high. People couldn't live. I mean, the prices for groceries, the prices
this is
for
why Trump would
standard,
purposely crash the
standard
stock
groceries,
market.
standard things were going through the roof. They couldn't live. And now those prices are coming down. So call them groceries, but that's down, energy's down, and interest rates are down. Everything's down. And the interest rates, the beauty there
And
is
that's
when
a
we
good time if you're
refinance
getting a
debt,
mortgage
you know,
to buy a
debt's become
house.
such a big factor in this country. We're gonna start paying debt off with tariffs and other things.
That's
But,
good.
It's
And
such
let's
a
get rid
big
of
factor
property
because the
taxes,
interest
too,
rates
while
are
we're at
high.
it.
Well, now that's coming way down, so
Make
our
sure you
budget's
don't
gonna look a lot better
Tax
because
people making less than
interest costs are way down.
$150,000 a year.
And I guess I've done that.
Those are new promises. Those aren't even promises I don't think he made on his campaign that I just
Many
mentioned.
Israelis are watching you now on live show. What is your specific way to get the hostages out from the
That's an
horrific-
old street light pole. That's how they all used to be, green like that.
We're looking at another ceasefire. We'll see what happens. But we want to get the hostages out. The Israeli people want the hostages out more than anything. They want the hostages out. This man is working very hard with us to do that. I mean, I don't know. I hope he's being appreciated because he's been a great leader. He's working very, very hard on the hostages and many other things. And there are plenty of things you have to work on. It's a tough place
Fucking
in the
mayor.
world.
I want to know who voted for Brandon Johnson of Chicago. Like, who literally? Does anyone? Hey, anyone watching this? Did anyone that's on my YouTube? I want to know. Did you guys vote for Brandon Johnson? And if you did, why? Tell me why you voted for him instead of Valalis.
I like it. It's mine. The prices blow my mind.
I don't think.
I feel so rich.
I don't think fucking if Valalis would have won for mayor of Chicago, I don't think he would keep putting money towards all these immigrants. I don't think he would have just took out a $300 million loan that has to be paid back by the city of Chicago in 30 years because he wanted to use that money for migrant, but I think Congress or some shit put a stipulation. We're going to give you the $30 million, but you got to spend it on fixing these streets. And by all them potholes I just hit throughout this entire fucking video that are unavoidable because they're from curb to curb, every single one of them potholes, fucking, why are they not being fixed? You got a $30 million loan, and this motherfucker still ain't fixing the roads because he's paying for them fucking immigrants to eat and live at the Marine base on Foster Avenue. It's insanity. It's like straight insanity.
And the lives, you know, they lived in a pipe, not really a tunnel, it was a pipe. And they always thought they were suffocating, they were going to suffocate. And then they'd open up the pipe and it was like 3.5 feet high. This isn't, you know, we hear tunnels bad, but pipes are worse. And the stories I heard were incredible. But I just said, was there any sign of potential love or affection? And there were none whatsoever. It was amazing to me. There was
Wait,
nothing like,
what about the pipes?
Here, take this, it's a little extra meal or something. They lived like hell. I don't know. They seemed to be, they were amazing to me. 'cause they
Mexico's
seemed to be
Underground
pretty
Railroad?
Normal. They weren't scarred. But I guarantee underneath they have to be scarred. And one was there for 356 days. Another was there for about
Where?
180 days. You know, a long time. These are people that have been really, really horribly treated. I've never seen anything like it.
The
I was
Houthis?
very surprised to hear the answer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Are there 2 or 3 countries that are on your list that you feel are farther along in getting their tariffs lowered?
I think there are. Well, I
My
think
buddy
there are many
Phil's all freaking out. I'm like, bro, this is the best time to invest in stocks. He's like, no, it's horrible. I'm like, it's horrible. I'm thinking in my head, bro.
They brought their car tariffs essentially off. I guess they brought it down to 2.5, and I hear.
Nah, fuck that. We gotta start building cars here. I don't care how much other countries take off their tariffs. Make cars in America again. Especially Chevy, Oldsmobile, Pontiac. Bring back Chevy, bring back Pontiac and Oldsmobile too while you're at it. Make cars great again, Trump. And remake a futuristic looking version of a 3rd-gen Camaro, kind of like they did with the 69. And also do a futuristic version of a like 70 to 72 Chevelle. Chevy Chevelle.
So they come up with rules and regulations that are just designed for one reason, that you can't sell your product in those countries, and we're not going to let that happen. Those are called non-monetary barriers. They make barriers that are so tough that it's impossible to qualify.
Phil, I gotta respond back to Phil about that.
There's another big
He's trying to
part
say
of it,
Vietnam
and
don't got
that's
a tariff,
barriers.
but I'm
They
sure they're
also
doing
do
something to
something
us.
else. They manipulate their currency, and they drive it down. They want to have low currencies. You know, it sounds better to have a high currency. currency, a strong
Well,
dollar
either
or
way,
whatever, but they
Vietnam,
bring their
I'm sure
currency
it's fucking
down,
us in some way
and when it
also.
competes with our currency, it's very hard to sell a tractor.
Maybe
It's
it's
very
not in
hard
the
to sell
exact same way,
product
but it's in a different
because
way.
their currency is low and ours is much higher relatively, and so it makes it very hard. I speak to a lot of companies that do business, tractor companies, and they say it's so hard
Yeah,
to
the
sell
overall point of
because
all
what
this
they've
is
done
to
is they've
start
lowered the
making
yen or
things
they've lowered the
American.
yuan or they've lowered their currency, so then it's very hard to compete.
Making things
We
in
don't want that
America
either.
again.
So we have a lot of things that
That's
we're
the
talking
purpose of
about,
all
but we're
this,
going to fix it properly,
including with
and it's going to be
Vietnam. A
fair
lot
to
of stuff comes
everybody.
in from
And in
Vietnam
the end,
now.
I think we're going to have a world that does a lot better, you know, but they have to respect the United States. And
I just had a shirt that was made in Vietnam like a
nobody
couple
but me
months
would do
ago,
this.
and
You
I
know,
was
it's-
looking at a
it'd be nice
tool
to
I think
serve
made in Vietnam. Well, a
nice,
lot of
easy
tools they
term.
make in
But
Vietnam
we have an
also.
opportunity to change the fabric of our country. We have an opportunity to
Yeah,
reset
true.
the
Yeah, he
table
does.
on trade. We lose billions of dollars.
Right.
We lose
Other
close
countries,
to,
they don't even gotta pay
$2
property
trillion
taxes
a
because
year
of
in
the
trade. We
fucking
lose $1
tariffs
trillion
that they
a
got
year
on
to
us.
China. A trillion.
China's
We
taking
lose
our lunch.
Hundreds of billions of dollars a year on trade.
They're straight taking
to
our
China.
lunch.
We lose hundreds of billions
They're like the
of
bully in
dollars
the lunchroom
overall.
saying, "Give me that
Probably
food."
close to
What,
$2 trillion.
Or I'm
Why
gonna
would we
take
do
it.
that? Number one, why
I'm gonna
would
take
we
something
do that?
else,
And
white
then you have
boy.
to say,
I'm
is
gonna
it
take your
sustainable?
food
Then
out,
you
I'm
hear
gonna take
about
something
All
else.
of the people that say, well, deficits, if we have a deficit with the country, or if the country has a big surplus with us, like China has a massive surplus, that they take and they spend on their military. Well, we don't want that. I
Right,
don't
why
want
are we
them to
doing
take
that?
500,
Why are we
600
giving
billion
other
dollars
countries a
year
surplus on
and
us?
spend
Why
it on their
why are we giving
military?
these other
I don't
countries
want them spending
an
money on
ability
their
to
military.
get
And
over
I
on
shouldn't have to spend
America?
money. We shouldn't have to spend it either. Because, you know, hopefully, and I said this to President Xi, hopefully it's money that we're never going to use. In other words, because we're not going to use those incredible weapons that we have and that they have. We don't want that. So it's going to be very interesting. It's the only chance our country will have to reset the table. Because no other president would be willing to do what I'm doing or to even go through it. Now, I don't mind going through it because I see a beautiful picture at the end. But we are making tremendous
subscribe,
progress
and
with
share.
a lot of countries, and the countries that really took advantage of us are now saying, please negotiate. You know why? Because they're getting beaten badly because of what's happening. They're getting beaten badly. They're being devalued as countries. But it's the only chance we're going to have to reset the table on trade. And when we do, we're going to come out unbelievably well. We're going to have a strong country economically again. And we're going to have those factories that are empty all over the United States. We've lost 90,000 plants and factories. Think of this, 90,000, you wouldn't think it's possible, 90,000 plants and factories since NAFTA, which was, by the way, the worst trade deal ever developed, ever had by any country anywhere, NAFTA. And I terminated NAFTA. Everybody said it would be impossible. And I terminated it through Congress. We terminated it. You had to get it through Congress. It was a trap. It was a horrible thing. And we got it done. And we went to the USMCA, which was much better. The problem is they cheat. They cheat like crazy. Canada cheats. Mexico cheats. Just one of those.
Now
things.
we're gonna cheat
But
them back. Because they've been cheating us for so
we're
goddamn
gonna
long
have
because
great
of Bill Clinton's free
and
trade
we have a very
agreement.
strong country. Our country is going to be at a level that has
That's good.
maybe never been, or maybe, you know, our country was the strongest, believe it or not, from 1870
Yep.
to 1913.
I'd
You
say
know
that
why?
sounds
It was
about right.
all tariff-based. We had no income tax. Then in 1913,
Did you hear that?
some genius
America
came
had
up
no
with the
income
idea of
tax.
let's charge the people of our country, not foreign countries that are ripping off our country.
Yeah.
And the country was never that kind of wealth. We had so much wealth, we didn't
And
know what to
then
do with our money.
we did. He's
We
right.
had meetings, we had committees, and these committees worked tirelessly to study one subject. We have so much money. What are we going to do with it? Who are we going to give it to? And I hope we're going to be in that position again.
I do too. I like that, Trump. You're gonna clap for that one. Support your local comic book store, by the way. 17%. Keep comics alive.
Well, we're talking about a whole new
And
trade.
gas cars.
Maybe not.
And hydrogen-powered car
Don't
company
forget,
I'm gonna start
we
one
help
day.
Israel a lot. You know, we give Israel $4 billion a year. That's a lot.
400 billion is quite a bit.
But we give Israel billions of dollars a year, billions. It's one of the highest, and we give a lot of countries money. You wouldn't believe it if I said we give Afghanistan a lot of money, do you? Because that was a Biden deal, another Biden deal. Not only did he embarrass us with that, but they give them billions of dollars, Afghanistan. So, but no, we take good care of our friends, and we don't take care of our enemies. We're not taking care of our enemies anymore, but we do take care of our friends.
For the times of Israel, the IDF is fighting to get in the government. Do you think that's the way to pressure Hamas to get to a deal? Or do you think blocking humanitarian aid is also pressure?
Well, you know how I feel about the Gaza Strip. I think it's an incredible piece of important real estate, and I think it's something that we would be involved in, but having a peace force like the United States there, controlling and owning the Gaza Strip would be a good thing. Because right now, all it is for years and years, all I hear about is killing and Hamas and problems. And if you take the people, the Palestinians, and move them around to different countries, and you have plenty of countries that will do that, and you really have a freedom zone. You call it the freedom zone.
The freedom zone, I like that.
The zone where people aren't going to be killed every day. That's a hell of a place.
I like that place.
You
The
know,
freedom
that's all a
zone
great
sounds
location.
nice. Place where you don't gotta have people getting killed every day.
And when they had good,
In another
when they
country
had
at
good
that?
living, real living, where Hamas and all of the problems, the level of death on the Gaza Strip is just incredible. And I've said it. I don't understand why.
And
Israel
Hamas
gave
is
it
the
up.
one that did it
Israel
all.
owned it. It wasn't this man, so I can say
It was
he wouldn't
Hamas's
give it up.
fault. What
I know
happened to
him pretty
Gaza?
well. There's no way. They took oceanfront property and they gave it to people for peace. How did that
That's
work
crazy.
out? Not good.
Is the immigration, sir, Mr. President, is the immigration...
That's why Canada, we're coming for your land. We're going to take all your oceanfront property, Canada. We're just going to take your whole country and make it our
All it
51st
is
state.
a concept
The
that I
first
have that I
state
think
that
is
will
gonna help
finally be
people
bigger
happy
than the
that,
state
you
of
know,
Texas.
people want to-
Or maybe we
people
could
are
add,
talking
like,
about the
we
Trump
could make
plan.
Canada into 10 states. So that way, like, we could have an equal number of flags, stars on the flag. So if we get 10 states out of Canada, we could put 60 stars on the U.S. flag.
Including in arenas of battle. I mean, whether it's Ukraine or Syria or any other place, people could leave. Gaza was the only place where they locked them in. We didn't lock them in. They're locked in. And what is wrong with giving people a choice?
Because the stars on the flag are to represent how many, what do you call it, states there are.
That are saying, if Gazans want to leave, we want to take them in. And I think this
As long as
is...
they're not trying to capture your people and fucking do
If
sick
you give-
shit with them. Bring them back in body bags and starve them and torture them. I don't know if I don't think you want to bring those ones in.
We're working on it. I hope you'll have good news for you.
I will say people really do love that vision. It's a long-term vision, but
DD has affected my confidence. My wife, Sherry,
Running no ad for you. I didn't got that problem. Why the fuck you playing? I wish I could say, why are you playing this fucking ad? I don't got that problem. This ad is completely irrelevant to me. Why y'all keep playing that shit?
Have long said that the United States of America.
Next time YouTube asks me about in that poll survey about do you feel your ads have been relevant because of that ad, I'm putting no. There's been a couple relevant. I hate Temu too. Temu, I hate Temu. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Temu is a bunch of fucking bullshit from China where they'll take a picture of something and then enlarge it so it looks like a real large thing, and when you get it, it's going to be like a little fucking model of the fucking thing you thought you were buying that you just paid $2,000 for, and you thought you were getting a 60-inch TV. Really, your 60-inch TV was like 6 inches by 6 inches, because they did it with their photography.
27 years later, Nancy Pelosi can thank
So you just paid $2,000 for a 6 by 6 inch screen that you thought was supposed to be a 66 inch TV screen.
Our nation's crippling trade deficit,
I mean, it's not that bad, but that's Temu is pretty damn close to being that bad. I hate Temu. Cheap Chinese garbage.
future economic
We need to make
growth.
America move.
Chuck Schumer said that
America's
in
TU,
2007.
or
Finally,
black.
in 2020,
America's
President
Timu,
Trump
that's what we'll
is
call
taking
it.
action. Recently defeated Democrat Sherrod Brown said on deficits in 2012 that our deficit then at China
Yeah,
had
Trump,
reached an
pay off our
all-time
deficit
high
with them
and is
tariffs
on
you're
pace to
tariffing other
receive,
countries.
last year's record. The trade deficit had cost American workers millions of jobs at the time.
Thursday,
These are
Trump?
the words of Democrats years ago.
He
It is
likes
about
milk,
time
too.
America
Well, this
finally
Trump
has
likes
a
milk. I don't know if
president
the real
who's taking
Trump
action
likes
to
to drink
restore
milk.
those millions of jobs back to the United States of America, to boost our manufacturing industry. He's
And
doing
that's
what's
what he's
right for the
doing.
American
He's
people.
doing
It will
exactly
take
what
a
I
lot of
voted
labor,
him to
it will
do.
take a lot of effort. That's exactly
then
what the
some.
American people elected this president to do.
Extra.
He will be talking about our energy agenda at 3 o'clock today over in the Eastern, as you all know. He
Oh,
will be
3
signing
o'clock
the
today we'll have a new
bill
interview.
to unleash the might of our
my president,
beautiful,
Trump.
clean coal industry in this country, which is a reliable energy source. Also, for
This is
AI.
live, by the way, right now. It
Today,
just
actually,
started.
about the executive order that will be signed later. So we'll see you all
Not this
there on
video is
President
live. The
Speak
one I'm
More.
playing
See you
is
later.
live.
Thanks,
It's
guys.
about Trump. See, that press conference girl is way more cool and way more intelligent than that clown ass looking fucking black bitch that fucking Joe Biden had. She looked like a fucking clown.
104%
Goofy ass here.
tariffs that will now go to China because they did not respond and tried to get rid of the retaliatory tariffs
Good.
that are against the United States.
In the long term, everybody, this will be good for America.
Is going to be now imposed at midnight tonight here. So again,
I ain't gonna lie, for the next 6 months to a year, it's not gonna be that great. Things are gonna be a little tough. But once 6 months to a year passes, you'll see all the good that Trump's tariffs are gonna do.
will be collected starting tomorrow.
Before all y'all start freaking out about the tariffs, just wait 6 months to a year and you'll see what's going to happen. Great things in America will happen. We'll start making things here again, etc. Cars will be made here again. Hopefully they'll bring back the V8. Hopefully they'll go back to drilling our oil in the Rocky Mountains and make refineries there and then finish the Keystone Pipeline from Alaska. I don't care if that happens before or after we make Canada our 51st state, or 52nd after Greenland.
We are keeping an eye on Senate Democrats, Senate Republicans.
If I got any Democrats watching right now, no, Trump is not being a dictator by trying to make Canada and Greenland our 51st and 52nd state. Trump is trying to make America strong again. The EU hasn't done a good job of protecting Greenland. They've done a pretty shitty job, in fact. Look it up. Do your own research if you don't believe me.
A major source of power for our nation is available, affordable, and reliable. President Trump is moving quickly to boost the American coal industry. It's part of his bold plan to restore American.
Cool, he's making a coal plant in America so we can stop buying Chinese coal. That's a good idea.
Of course, we will carry that for you without any commercial interruption, just like how we did here with the White House briefing. Let Caroline Levitt bring the briefing right to you. No sound bites right here. You saw it like if you were in the White House briefing room. What we'll do right now is take a 2-minute break. We'll be back with much more on Live Now from Fox.
Something else is going to end in a minute. Make any comments you want to say if you want me to say your name. I'll say your name at the end of the video if you comment now, or if you already commented, like Shivity did.
Recycled commercial. See, at Mint Mobile, we're always looking for innovative ways to save our money so we can
Yo,
save
Shivity, you still watching? How's your day going, Shivity?
And no other president.
Are you going to be releasing those cool-ass videos you got from last Saturday soon?
It's an
I hope.
honor to do it
Comment
because
if
we
you
have
will.
been just-
And everyone go
just
subscribe to
destroyed
Shivity
what they've done
Smolsky's
to our
channel. That's
system.
my
We have
friend I
$36
make
trillion
videos with
in debt for a
occasionally.
reason. And the reason is that people
He's
are
got
allowed
good
to
shit
get
on
that
his
way.
channel
So,
right now.
We'll be
Or it's
going
gonna be premiering in the next 2 to 3
A lot
days,
of
he
different
said.
countries, and I think if we can make a really fair deal and a good deal for the United States, not a good deal for others. This is America first. It's now America first, and we didn't put America first. We put America last. The people that were
Yeah,
in
we
the
did.
Oval Office put
That's what
America
Joe Biden
last,
did.
and we're not going to stand for it.
Bring in Robert Wolf, former economic
Trump's not
advisor to
standing
President
for
Obama,
it.
and Steve Moore, former Trump
I was getting
economic
sick of
advisor.
standing for
Welcome to
it.
both of you. You know, people are just trying to wrap their minds around this. You know,
But I do
Robert,
believe
I know
I
what
did
you're
help
going to say. You're going to say that
a lot
you
of
were targeted
Trump
tariffs.
votes
You
that
were-
went to
your
Trump in Chicago.
point
I
has
do
been that
honestly
the
believe I
broad
got maybe
sweeping
at least
tariffs
the bare
aren't going to
minimum.
work.
If
So
these
based on what
migrants
we've
did
seen so
vote in the
far,
last
and the White
election,
House saying that
I think I got at least bare minimum 20 migrants, if not more possibly, to vote for Trump. I guarantee you I've got at least 20 immigrants that I talked to making all those videos. I guarantee you 20 out of those thousands of migrants I talked to, at bare minimum, I bet you if we could get the records for it, you would see at least 20 of those migrants I talked to, including possibly Costa Rica, all voted for Trump. He said he voted for Trump, but he said they changed his vote to Biden.
Canadian agreement, and all of a sudden companies got ready for that. They supported the tough stance that President Trump took on China, so they moved a lot of their factories to manufacturing in Vietnam, and then you had the Vietnam tariff. As I said, Liberation Day, it was poor policy.
I need to know if you
because
know
it was
about. I
not
need to educate
communicated
myself
well.
more about that Vietnam
The
tariff.
data didn't actually align if you look at AEI. And what's happened since then, and I'll make it quick so Steve can talk. You've had Larry Fink, the largest money manager in the world, tell you that CEOs are telling him we're in a recession. You have Jamie Dimon, who was somewhat pretty positive, pretty dramatically in the last 72 hours to, I would say, somewhat negative inflation and slower growth. And we could talk about the volatility of the stock market. The VIX, which is the fear gauge, is the highest in 4 years.
Okay, well, you know what that means. There could easily be some contrarians that step in here when that VIX gets too high, and it has gotten high. That is for sure. To your point about Jamie Dimon, he is warning about the effects this will have on inflation. And there are concerns out there about this. This is what he said to shareholders. The recent tariffs will likely increase inflation, are causing many.
Fuck. Look at anyone's comment I didn't read yet. Give me a second. There's supposed to be some Haitians living in this hotel I'm about to go in. So like, subscribe, share, and if I get any good video footage, it'll be uploaded later. Check out Shivity's channel. Anyone else say anything on here? Nope. Alright, that was a short comment. Alright, like, subscribe, share, thumbs up, yo. Thanks for watching. Oh, by the way, this video will be available sometime tomorrow if you want to watch it. If you missed it live.